Today we are crocheting this lace heart that you can decorate with lights. Let's see what you need and how to make it. You need crochet yarn or thread, and then you need a crochet hook that goes with it. The hook I'm using here is size 3 mm. And then you need white glue for hardening it, or you can use any other way of hardening that you like. And then you need some type of LED lights, ones with batteries. This sort that has wire in it is easier to pass through and put the lights in the right places, but also these plastic ones are fine. Some of those lights also have beads. I'm Tuula and here to make this here heart with you. We start by chaining 8. So I have 5 here and 6, 7, 8. And close it into a ring with a slip stitch, just like normally. Chain 4. And then we'll need 11 double crochets with 1 chain in between into the ring. So 1 double crochet, and I'm using American crochet terms. Double crochet in British terms is treble. Chain 1 and a double crochet, chain 1, and so on. So continue like this, chaining 1 and a double crochet until you have 11 double crochets. Here 11 double crochets plus that there chain that counts as a 12th one, and still to finish, chain 1 and attach it into the starting loop using a slip stitch. Next we start making like corners by having 4 groups of 6 trebles. Chain 4, and then 5 trebles in this here same loop. So treble with 2 yarn overs in that same space, and always through 2 yarn over through 2 loops to make the treble. And in this first one we need 5 of them, so I'll speed this up. So now there are 5 trebles plus the chain. Then chain 3 and skip 2 of these spaces here, and then we make 6 trebles into the third one. So you skip this one and skip that one and go into this here, and 6 in this same one. Here's another group of 6, and then again chain 3 and skip 2 spaces and 6 in the next one, and then 1 more group of 6. So work until you finish the 4th group, and then we'll look at the end of the round. Here are all the groups, and then to finish in the middle of the corner we chain 2 and then a double crochet to the top of the chain we started with. Like that. And then we'll make these here loops, this here round. First chain 5, and then a double crochet in where the chain starts. and chain 4, and then a double crochet in between the 3rd and the 4th, in other words in the middle of the group here. A double crochet there. It looks like this here, and then we need 5 chains, chain 5. This creates a corner now, and then a double crochet in that same space where the other double crochet was. So it looks like that now. And then chain 4. So we alternate chaining 4 and 5. Chain 4, and then the same kind of a thing with 2 double crochets in the middle stitch of these 3 we have here after our group of trebles. So a double crochet here. And here, when we are not in the middle of this here big group, we only need to chain 2 in between 2 double crochets. So a double crochet in the same stitch there, and then we continue to the next corner, and before that again chain 4, a double crochet in the middle in between the 3rd and the 4th, and when we are here in the middle of a group we need to chain 5. And another one, and this is how we'll continue the row. So always chaining 4 in between these double crochets, and here in the middle chain 2, then we continue the end the same way, alternating what we do in the middle of the group of trebles and just in the chain. So now I'm rounded and slip stitch in the starting loop. So this is what it looks like now. I'm pulling it up from those corners there. So this is what we have now. Next we'll have a whole lot of K-stitches going right round it. K-stitches or crossed trebles. So it's like a crisscross, one big crisscross stitch. Starting right where we are and chaining 8. Chain 8. And this first one is different than all the other ones then. To make that first stitch like that, take 1 yarn over and then insert the hook into the 5th stitch from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And another yarn over, let the hook go round the yarn, and then insert the hook into the next double crochet right next to you, and then a yarn over, and then we work a bit like in trebles, through 2 there, and through the stitch plus the stitch that we took from the chain, and then finish off just like a double crochet. So that's what we get, and that's just with the first one. The rest of them we'll do as normal K-stitches. Then chain 4, and then we jump to the next double crochet, 2 yarn overs, and insert the hook on top of the next double crochet, and we start a double crochet, but then we leave it here for now, and then we make the other side of the K-stitch. So yarn over, and skip 2 stitches and insert the hook in the middle of the middle one of the chain, and again start making a double crochet, and now always through 2 stitches. So yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and through 2, then chain 2, and now we still need to finish the other side to get that crisscross pattern. So we'll make a double crochet in the middle of this here K-stitch. I normally insert the hook so that I take this here, there's a bit bigger loop in there, so I'll take that also on my hook, so it makes a nice shape of a stitch, and a double crochet. So this is what we have now. This is the stitch we just made. Then chain 7 for the corner, 7, and then we'll make another K-stitch again, just the same way, and we start by inserting the hook in the same stitch where we finished the other one, so like this here, and otherwise working the same. The other side of the stitch goes in the next double crochet, and then continuing the stitch, chain 2, and then a double crochet in the middle again through there. So now we formed this here corner, and then we'll make 1 K-stitch on top of that again, and we always chain 4 in between 2 K-stitches. So you continue the round like this, 1 K-stitch just like these ones in here, and then this corner will be exactly like this here corner. So continue until you have all the corners done. And at the end of the round you have again chain 4 and just finish it off with a slip stitch into the start. There. And then we have 1 more round in this here square bit in the middle, and that's just double crochet groups. And here again the groups are slightly different if we are in a corner or at the side of the round. First chain 4, and then we'll need 6 double crochets so that the first one and the last one are attached to the top of the K-stitches. So 1 here at the top of the K-stitch, then 4 in the chain space without attaching it anywhere, just the hook in the space. 2, 3, 4, and then 1 more, which is the 6th of the group, and that goes in here. So that's the first group of double crochets. Then chain 2, and in here corner we'll have 5 plus 5 with chaining 3 in between, and also to start and end we insert the hook at the top of the K-stitches, there and there. So first 1 in here, and then 4 more, that's 4 plus that 1, so 5, then chain 3, and this is the corner, and then we do it again on the other side, so 4 double crochets, and one more, and it goes on top of the stitch here. There. So now we have one corner done, and this is how we continue. Each corner is the same, and then along the side you have 6 here and 6 here, and chaining 2 in between. But I'll do one more. Chain 2, and then skip to the top of the next top of a case stitch, then 4 in the chain space, that's 4, and then 1 here, so there, and continue like this, chaining 2, and then here again 6, and then in the corner 5 plus 5. When you come to the end, you already have this here chain that represents 1 double crochet, so just finish it off with slip stitch, and then actually cut the yarn. We will be starting again at the corner. So here we see where we are at the moment. This is the square, and in the finished one it's in here, and then we have 2 identical parts in here, and we will be starting in this here corner to make the first one. So attach the yarn again into any of the corners, right in the middle of the corner, and then we start going back and forth here. Chain 3 and a double crochet, and chain 1 and 2 double crochets in that same space. So the border of this here half circle that we are making always has 2 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 double crochets. These here chains count as the first double crochet. Chain 3 and then skip to the first space and a double crochet in that space. Again chain 3, and what we are going to do in the middle here, these here, as you may know, are called pineapples. So because these here stitches are higher than the single crochets in here, that's what makes it form like this here, going inwards like that. So we are here now. And then in the middle here we'll have 6 double crochets with 1 chain in between. So there's 1, then chain 1, another double crochet, and so on until you have 6 double crochets there. That's those there, 6 double crochets with a chain in between. Then the other side always goes the same as this side, only in reverse order. Chain 3, double crochet in the next space, chain 3, and then we are in the next corner, and there we'll have 2 groups of 2 double crochets with chaining 1 in between. So there's 2 double crochets, then I chained 1 and 2 double crochets. So that's how the first row looks there. Then for turning we always chain 3. Chain 3 and turn, and here 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then the same, chain 3, and a double crochet directly on top of the previous double crochet, and then we'll start working with single crochets when we get to this here pineapple bit. Chain 3, and here we will have 11 single crochets, so that there's one on top of each of the double crochets, plus always one in the space in between. So here, single crochet, and one in the space in between, and again in the next one, and so on. And finishing off at the last one. There, so there's 11 single crochets there. And then the other side is always the same. I'll show it in here, and then after that I won't actually, because it's always the same. Chain 3, double crochet, chain 3, and here always 2 double crochets in the space in between the double crochets of the previous row. So there's 2, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. And from here now until we get this here pineapple finished, I will only be showing this here part. The end and the beginning of the row is always the same. So now make these double crochets and this here bit. Here, and now coming to this here pineapple bit, skip the first one, and then a single crochet in each except the last one. So what actually happens, we had 11 there. On this row we'll have 9, then 7, 5, 3, and 1. That's what creates that shape. And the last one. So that's 9. 9 single crochets there. And then do the other side exactly there and back like normal. So I went back and forth, and now I'm again at this. So this time it's 7. You again skip the first one, and 7 single crochets. And then continue like this. So you go back and forth. Next time you'll have 5, then 3, and then 1, and I'll come back when we're at that stage. Here's those rows finished, and then still do the same start for the row. But we stop where we are on top of these here double crochets, and instead of now going down towards the single crochets, we go straight across and make a double crochet on the other side of it. So it looks like this here. And then finish off the row normally. And turn and make the start of the row with the 2 groups of double crochets. And now what we do is a treble with 2 yarn overs. So in this here space in the middle. Like this, and directly from this finishing off the row. Again with these double crochet groups. That's how it looks there. And then we have 1 more row to finish it off like this here. plus then these here bits that go round, that's separate. But for this actual part, this here, now we just turn and make 2 slip stitches so we get to the middle of this here groups of double crochets and 1 in the chain in between. Then chain 3 and then 3 trebles in that treble we just made on the last row, 3 trebles. Then chain 3 and a slip stitch in the chain in between the 2 there, and another one, and then cut the yarn, and that's that one done. So that's that one side done. And then make exactly the same one on this other side. So turn it a bit to the left and then you start in here. And just use the same video, exactly the same. You start here and at the end of the first row you put the stitches in the same space where you started the other one. So make a second side like that. Here we are, that's it finished. And weave in all yarn ends before the last round. And what we still need to do is this here round, so that we get these holes where we then pass the lights through. Attach the yarn in here first. And what we are doing is just chains and picots. First in here start with chaining 6. And then a single crochet in the first loop we have. So we will be skipping from all these loops. And then a picot on each of these. A picot with chaining 3. And then I normally insert my hook through both of these in the base of the picot and just pull through a slip stitch. And then continue this here same, chain 6 and attach it to the next one, next one, next one, and always a picot, just the same way as here. And then just continue from one loop to the next, right round until here, always chaining 6 and the picot. So now I have done this here, and from here on these are slightly longer. We'll chain 7 and then attach it there with a picot. So always 7, 7, and then remember to also make a picot at the point here. So continue with a 7 right round here and then back to the 6 until the end here. So here it's done, and now you need to harden it. What I prefer to do is to block it by wetting it right through. If you are using cotton or similar yarn, spread it out really well, and you can also steam it a bit with an iron. Then put some white glue in a bowl and add a bit of water, less water than glue, and mix well. Then dip this crochet into it and make sure it goes everywhere in it. So keep turning it until the glue water is everywhere in it. And if you don't have enough, make more. Then set it on a non-stick surface. I have mine on a baking tray on a baking sheet because I'm going to put this into a very cool oven. But if you are not going to use an oven, you can just use cling film on any board. If you put it in the oven, use a very cool oven, maximum 50 degrees centigrade or about 120 Fahrenheit. So make sure it's a very cool oven. And here's my disclaimer too. Some yarns may not be able to take the oven at all. Make sure the glue is sort of children's glue, that it doesn't have anything poisonous in it and that it doesn't smell bad when you put it in the oven. But you don't need an oven, it will dry on its own. But it takes a few days to get really hard that you need before you can put the lights on it. When the heart is all hard, then take your lights and pass them into it, depending on what sort of lights you have. And it's easier to do when you actually have the lights on, so you see how it looks. So pass it through the holes around the edges. This depends then a bit how you do it, depending on what type lights you have. Or you can also sew it on, depending on what type of lights you have. So with this here, I have wrapped it round twice, round, and then sort of sewn round here using very long stitches. Here's the white one done. I wrapped this 2 or 3 times, and then you need the cord to hang it with. And here we are. Enjoy your lovely light. Make sure you are also subscribed to my channel so you get all the future tutorials as well. Until next time.